Gege Akutami has mentioned that he plans to end the story soon, and the pace that we are going at right now, it does seem like the story will end towards the autumn/winter months of this year. At the absolute latest, my theory is that the story will end very early on next year in 2025, but that's the most extreme prediction of when the story will end. However, I do believe that the story will sadly end this year, and guys, I'm not excited about that. I mean, I am excited to see how the story will end, but that doesn't mean I won't miss the series when it does eventually end. That's why when I make theory videos on how the story will end, it's sort of bittersweet for your tribal chief. As much as I am brainstorming ideas on what I think will happen next in the next stage of the story, it still gets to me that the story will come to an end. There's a big possibility that the story will end up having a spin-off story solely because Jujutsu Kaisen is a lucrative franchise, and I'm sure Shonen Jump will find a way to milk the series as much as they can. But with all the talk of the series ending, it gets me thinking, what is the message that the story was trying to tell us fans? Was there a deeper, more wholesome message that the series was trying to teach us? Shonen Jump is mainly catered towards the demographic of young teenagers, so naturally a lot of their stories will always have that one deeper lying message within the story for the target audience. Naruto's message was that you don't have to be born a special talent to be special. You can be special by training and working hard, and eventually you will get to that level that you wish to become and that you have been striving for, with characters like Rock Lee and Naruto himself for a majority of the story. Shaman King's message, in my opinion, is the message of redemption. No matter how far you have fallen, you can always find your way back thanks to your friends and family, which was showcased to us with our main antagonist in How Asakura. One Piece has the message of following your dreams and that you can achieve those dreams if you strive and work towards them, no matter how crazy or far-fetched those dreams are. This was characterized by the face of One Piece itself, Monkey D. Luffy, in his impossible dream in becoming the Pirate King. Yu-Gi-Oh! The message of having strong bonds and connections with your friends, with the original series having Kaiba be connected to the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and the reason why he has a strong connection with that card is because his Egyptian counterpart 3,000 years ago bonded with a girl who wielded the spirit of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. She then sacrificed herself to protect Seto thousands of years ago. That bond is so strong that Kaiba, in modern day reincarnated and all, is still having that strong connection with the Blue Eyes White Dragon because of that bond with that girl Kisara in that previous life. Fairy Tail, its message is that you don't have to be related to be family. As cheesy as that is, you can see the family bond of the Fairy Tail Guild. Lucy literally joined the Fairy Tail Guild as a newbie and they welcomed her as if she's been part of the guild her entire life. Guys, I can go on and on with different shonen examples, but I think we'll be here all day. But with just these few examples alone, you can see what I'm trying to talk about here in this video. All major shonens have an underlying message that is trying to teach to its audience, and I literally just listed out a few major shonen titles with their message that they are trying to teach with their storytelling. But what's Jujutsu Kaisen's message? Ultimately, in my opinion, that message itself will also be a part of the story's legacy. The main goal of our character Itadori Yuji is to die. His destiny has been set in stone in that he will die because he is Sukuna's vessel. Now currently, he is not Sukuna's vessel, so I wonder how the whole death sentence of Yuji will turn out now. But he has also mentioned throughout the first season of the anime that he wants a meaningful death and that he doesn't want to die alone like how his granddad died. That in itself could be a message to lead a meaningful life, which will translate you into having a meaningful death. But I can't lie, that is a little bit dark for a shonen title to have as their main message and teaching for its younger audience. Traditionally, it would usually be something like what I mentioned earlier in having strong bonds with your loved ones, believing in your dreams, and work hard to be the best that you can be. You know, light-hearted, inspirational messages that can be a positive influence for a young fan of any of these shonen series. But is the audience now tired of this type of messaging? Is the younger fan base getting wiser now? Look at superhero movies, for instance. I'm not saying they're all Lord of the Rings level of complex storytelling, but you look at the MCU now has so many stories and movies intertwining in the multiverse, which can be difficult to follow. Whereas before, the MCU was very straightforward. Each movie was building towards Thanos and the Infinity Stones. The plot was essentially stop Thanos from getting all the Infinity Stones, and that's it. Very simple storytelling, nothing complex. Anyone can tune in and watch this, and this is the thing. The superhero movie's main target audience is the young teenage audience, which Shonen Jump is catering towards. Is storytelling itself becoming complicated, or is the simple storyline method is too simple for the younger audience members now? There's Easter eggs and little clues in almost every show now. There's a bigger universe in almost every big blockbuster series. So what I'm trying to say is that as we are seeing more shows and series that are traditionally catered towards the teenage demographic, are they becoming more complex in their storytelling by linking in a bigger, grander universe? I mean, look at the Monsterverse. I would never have imagined that Godzilla will have its own cinematic universe, but here we are. Even a series like Godzilla has a cinematic universe. And again, this target audience is for young teenage boys who love big monsters fighting each other. Your tribal chief watched Godzilla -1, and one of my work colleagues who's in his 50s was saying to me, "Isn't that movie for kids?" That movie was awesome, so it's his loss anyway. And no, that movie wasn't just for kids, but I digress. So maybe now with the complex storytelling in media right now, maybe that has an effect on the messaging of stories like Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen is a product of its time with dark and gritty storytelling and with characters that are not fully good, but are not fully evil either. Obviously, you have Sukuna and Kenjaku as the big bad evil villains, but the disaster curses truly believed that they were the real humans of Earth. So if you look at it from their perspective, they believe they have a right to call Earth their home and not just let the humans call Earth their own. So when you look at the story from that perspective, it becomes a whole new story, and it gets you thinking maybe both the cursed spirits and the humans are both sides of the same coin, and that neither are really good or evil. They're just failing to exist with each other naturally, which is why they are having a history of fighting each other for thousands of years. Look at Wanda from the MCU. You can make the argument that she was the villain in WandaVision and in Doctor Strange too, but she then died as a hero. The story explained that she had flaws and that she was neither good nor bad. This meta of characters being in the grey area is not just a Hollywood thing. It has found its way to shonen as well, and more specifically in Jujutsu Kaisen with the whole war between the cursed spirits and the Jujutsu sorcerers. Even the whole fighting with honor in a 1v1 duel, that's completely gone with the Jujutsu sorcerers. You see throughout the entire story that the villains are the ones getting ganged up on. Right now, Sukuna is getting jumped by Yuji, Rika, Yuta and Maki, which shows to us that the heroes in this story don't care how they get the job done as long as they get it done. This is what I mean with stories like Jujutsu Kaisen. We have moved away from the simple storytelling, or should I say traditional storytelling, which is why, in my opinion, the inner message behind Jujutsu Kaisen won't be a traditional positive inspirational message. On this channel, I made a video on why I believe Jujutsu Kaisen is the most realistic shonen, and I still stand by that. Go watch that video and find out why I say that. But just like how I feel Jujutsu Kaisen is the most realistic shonen, I feel the inner message behind Jujutsu Kaisen will be a realistic one that both the older and the younger fans can relate to. I love One Piece. It's probably my favorite series of all time. But the whole message of believing in your dreams and going after it won't really hit the older audience post the age of 20, because reality hits you like a ton of bricks when you become an adult, and you will need to get a job to pay rent and survive. That is the reality now. It doesn't mean that you can't have goals that you want to aim towards, but having big bombastic dreams like becoming a professional sports star, making millions every year, dreams like that will die as you get older, as you go towards having a stable career, or if you carry on with your studies. This type of messaging that One Piece has in having big dreams will work for young kids, as they can have their belief and imagination of having big dreams of becoming a professional football player or an NBA player or whatever they want to be. Jujutsu Kaisen has already shown us the reality of life with a beloved character named Nanami Kento. He hated his life when he was working a corporate job, which is why he came back to be a mentor for the new Jujutsu sorcerers in Gojo's high school. But having a character already show the younger audience on how miserable and mundane a 9-to-5 job can be was so surprising for me. They showed something that us older audience members can actually relate to, and drive home the message to the younger audience that this could be the reality that they will be facing when they get older and in their 20s. So with just this example, the series is showing the reality of how life can be with the example of Nanami. So is this the message of Jujutsu Kaisen? Life in your adult age can be brutal. Is that the message that the series is trying to show? I don't think so. I think we're getting warmer to the message, but I still feel this is a depressing message for the younger audience. I believe the message for Jujutsu Kaisen is being shown to us through our main protagonist in Itadori Yuji. How many times in this series has Yuji been beaten, laughed at, and even killed by Sukuna? He's been beaten by guys like Mahito and Higuruma and was brought to the brink of full mental collapse when Sukuna did the whole "hey brat, take a good look" and revealed the chaos he unleashed in Shibuya whilst he took over Yuji's body. But no matter how many times we see Yuji fall and beaten, laughed at, and even bullied by Sukuna and the other antagonist, he still keeps going. The story absolutely beats Yuji down to the floor. He loses his granddad early on. He loses his best friend Megami and has Sukuna take over Megami's body, which he feels it was his fault to begin with. And the amount of people Sukuna killed in Shibuya using Yuji's body as the weapon to cause that damage, whilst Yuji's personality and character is that of a hero and a protector, just like how his granddad in his dying wish back in episode 1 of the first season wanted Yuji to protect and help people because he is strong. So you have this guy who has the purest and best intentions constantly being put down and beaten to a pulp physically and emotionally, but he carries on. Keeps moving. He lost both of his mentors in Gojo and Nanami. He saw Nanami die right in front of him. He also saw Nobara die right in front of him. He lost his fight against Chozo, which resulted in Sukuna eventually taking over his body and causing mass murder in Shibuya. The guy had loss after loss after loss, just in Shibuya alone. But in the end, he still kept on going and managed to defeat Mahito. If Kenjaku never absorbed Mahito, Yuji would have killed him right there and there. In the Rocky Balboa movie, Rocky gives a speech to his son that life is not easy and that he would beat you to the ground and will keep you there permanently if you let it. But it's never about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. This is one of the best speeches of all time in any forms of media. But this speech is Itadori Yuji. This speech symbolizes Yuji for me because the guy keeps getting beaten to a pulp in a world of cursed spirits and jujutsu sorcerers that he recently entered into. It's a savage and brutal world and it beats him to a pulp, and yet he still finds the strength to not only fight and defeat Mahito, but also be the one of the last surviving jujutsu sorcerers left to fight off against Sukuna and actually do some damage to Sukuna as well. Jujutsu Kaisen is a realistic anime in that it shows the reality of life. Look at Yuji's life. That's the reality. He lost his friends and family and he keeps on getting beaten and put down, but he keeps going on and never gives up and strives to learn and be a better version of himself. That is the message, in my opinion, that the story of Jujutsu Kaisen is trying to teach. Life is hard, living is not easy, and it will beat us down, but we need to keep pushing forward and carrying on, just like Yuji. Thank you for watching this video, guys. Please comment below what you think the message behind the Jujutsu Kaisen story is. And as your tribal chief always says, don't forget to subscribe to the Shaman Tribe.